Today I thought we would go back and revisit the Mezco Cinema Fear Friday the 13th, the final chapter, 3 3/4 inch Jason Voorhees. The initial review of this I did back in July 14th, 2010. Let's go ahead and get the dimensions going for Jason. Yes, they say 3 3/4 inch. To be honest, actually, he comes closer to about 4 inches tall. He's a little bit smaller, of course, than some of the other Jason figures that you may have picked up in your collection. And that's one of the things I really like about this particular figure. I went through my old totes and I was pulling out some old Jasons that I wanted to have a look at. And I came across this little guy. And again, we don't really get a lot of small Jasons, this one being one of the smallest. Technically, if you want to have one that's still fully posable. Comes with a display stand. I don't know if this is the same display stand that he initially came with. I feel like this one might be even the glow-in-the-dark version. But it comes with just like a little circular display stand, singular peg, but he's got 2 peg holes on the undersides of his feet, depending on which foot you would like to use. He also comes with a machete. The machete has some blood splattered all over the blade portion of it, and a couple of little dots of blood splatter there across the blade as well. They went for a very minimum looking design, favoring not something like the shinier kind of chrome plastic that we've seen with earlier release Jasons. So I like that. Handle, I have to admit, though, is a little on the large side. It is awfully a girthy, thick handle that doesn't quite fit in his hand that well. You really have to kind of put it in on a side and then just rotate it around for him to get it to fit. Could have afforded, I think, a little bit smaller of a handle, but that's a very small little gripe. The other hand is for grabbing, is for crushing necks, squishing heads, whatever Jason feels at the time that he wants to do to his poor victims. So you can't really obviously hold the machete into that hand. Let's just take the machete out. We'll put it over to the side. Again, this is a great looking figure. Really, it's a shame that they didn't do more of these, getting into a small 3 3/4 inch scale or 4 inch for this in this instance. With all the Marvel Universe or Marvel Small Legends size figures, DC tried it at one time. Didn't really have much success doing it. It's kind of neat that Mezco did, a Jason. They did a Freddy, and they also did a Leatherface. I think those are the only ones that they really actually covered in the smaller scale figures. But, he's fully posable. Like, he has the ball-jointed head. That's actually the ball joint's at the base of the neck rather than the actual head area. Hinged shoulders. I mean, we're talking an old figure here, guys, and actually he's fairly posable. Rotation all the way around in the arms. Has a hinge in the elbow, a rotation in the forearm, a rotation in the hand. It doesn't have much articulation. I mean, he does have a ball joint in the upper torso, but it does seem like it at times seems a little limited, like it hits the side of his leg and you can't really rotate it too much. But I guess it does what it needs to do. You could technically rotate it all the way around. I'm not going to do that, though. He does have a ball joint in the leg, a knee hinge, and a ball joint foot. Now, keeping in mind, let's look, if we jump into our time machine, let's jump back to 2010, or even like 2009, I think this guy actually was released in. Again, really holds up well to today's standards. I mean, this is kind of stuff that NECA is doing now with their Ultimate figure lines. Ultimate Jason having this. For the longest time, you had a pre-posed staction figure really from the waist down. So it's quite an accomplished feat. It's not without problems, though. Of course, one of the biggest being that his legs don't seem to sit properly. They look like one leg sits like further out from the socket of the waist. So it does look a little awkward at times. The coloring is not really that of Friday the 13th Part 4. It's kind of more like in darker gray tones than, the green top, the more gray slacks. A lot more browns, a lot more grays. Does look good, though. The sculpting on the top is nice. On the sleeve, you got a little bit of that brown washed into the front area. Some darker gray kind of makes an appearance on the side of the leg. Again, some nice wrinkling there. Also in the leg cuff And again, the sculpting there of the boots. Really nice, again, nicely done. No sculpt on the underside of the sole, but really, how much are we expecting here, ladies and gentlemen? Let's have a look at his head. First, we'll look at his mask. The mask is removable, but I really think nice job on the mask. You've got the little gash at the top there from the axe. Some blood now residual on the top area there. One of the chevrons slightly worn away, and they've added some brown airbrushing around the bottom area of the mask, around the top area of the mask. Again, it doesn't quite fit the profile of, well, I guess somewhat to part 4. The air holes there, nicely done. The sculpting on the side of the neck and head, nicely also done. I specifically like, too, that you can't see his eyes. It's just these dark recessed areas, and they're pitch black. But there are actually eyes underneath that. So what we'll do is we'll just grab the mask here and take it off. Ew! What a garish looking sight. The scarred, mangled Jason Voorhees underneath. Again, some nice detailing. I don't know why his lip sticks out as far as it does. I mean, it's not a deal breaker for me because I'm not really going to be displaying him without the mask anyways. But I just noticed that it does stick out a fair bit. He's also got quite of a larger nose going there as well. The slightly droopy-eyed on the one side. Again, some nice scarring and blood on the other. Really nice looking piece. There's the back of it. You can kind of see where the strapping of the actual hockey mask will sit into place. What you get also as a standalone piece, by virtue of taking off the mask, is just such a great looking hockey mask that you could probably make use of in other figures. I would say you could really customize a G.I. Joe, or you could customize a Marvel Legends to kind of accommodate this. But really, you get everything that you would need on this particular Jason. You really wouldn't need to customize a figure. Just go ahead and get his mask back into place. Yeah, it's nice kind of going in from time to time, going back into the bin, the totes of stuff that you used to collect. Not only do you get the memories, but in a lot of cases, you get these little gems like Jason here. I love that he's superposable, a smaller size figure. Gosh darn it, I wish that they would release more of these, you know, like your Michael Myers, your pinheads and stuff like that. Really nice. No potential. Some companies, I guess they just didn't see the potential in it. Maybe NECA might pick up a possible, you know, releasing of these smaller scale figures. I would really be interested. Of course, I like the 7-inch figures much more, but I think a smaller size Jason that can go in and just mutilate all your G.I. Joes and Marvel Legends Series 3 3/4-inch figures. Yeah, I like that. I like that a lot. Today, though, we were revisiting. This was the Cinema Fear, I think it was. The Cinema Fear 3 3/4-inch Jason. Actually, to be exact, the Mezco Cinema Fear Friday the 13th final chapter 3 3/4-inch Jason Voorhees. It is actually technically closer to 4. That's okay. Long time ago, I reviewed this. Decided it was a time to kind of go back and revisit this figure. And I'm really glad I did. I actually might be inclined to probably put this guy on display now. If you guys certainly like these little throwback videos, let me know down below. Hit it with a like. Let me know in your comments section down below. Not your, well, the comments section down below. Let me know if you had a chance at some point to pick up these figures. Would you like, and would you possibly consider picking up a 3 3/4 line of horror figures? That's a good question to ask. Let me know down below. Certainly as well, if you haven't had a chance to subscribe to this channel, what are you waiting for? Hit that little subscribe button down below and you're good to go. And also, if you're a fan of Jason Voorhees, would you actually believe there's a playlist on this channel featuring all the Jason Voorhees figures that I've ever reviewed? Such a thing exists? It does. And it's on this channel. Thanks, guys. See you next time.